We have ignition.
The Big Ten Championships. Yeah. All right, it's working now.
It's all interesting. Stuff I don't know a lot about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got a variety of stuff we're talking about. I feel like everyone that comes in, we just talk about whatever is on their mind and take it from there.
Love it, bro.
Yeah, we're back.
Amazon. He's opening a Rogan. Look at this guy.
Got a Celsius today.
Oh, Celsius.
Yeah.
My bad. Thought it was a Rogan.
A lot of caffeine in there. It's like the opposite effect of
How much is in it? Yeah. What are we doing?
I don't think they're particularly good for you.
Oh, okay.
To be honest.
Celsius, yeah.
I think it's like 180 milligrams.
180, okay.
They say to only drink one a day.
Okay.
Like I think right on the can it says warning, only drink one a day.
Yeah.
But
180 is not terrible. You can handle that. If you had
Definitely.
to, obviously, okay. Now we're getting into pretty heavy caffeine use.
Yeah.
But
no, I would say at this point in my life, that's like my vice is sometimes can be caffeine.
Yeah.
Have a couple cups of coffee or an energy drink, which I know it's not great, but keeps you going.
yeah, you feel good though.
Yeah.
Feel good, look good, right? Kind of thing. Okay. As long as you're not overdoing caffeine to a point of like shaking and stuff. Caffeine is actually very beneficial in a lot of ways, right? But
Yeah.
especially with your training, as long as you're able to like, you know, if it's not causing issues, caffeine can have a lot of benefits. Because I'm a caffeine guy. I don't drink energy drinks, but a little bit of caffeine, coffee, a little bit of espresso here at HQ got us feeling good, right? So
Yeah.
you always know it's like you got to have some food in the system. Don't overdo the caffeine. Some stomach issue might hit you a little bit if you're not prepared. So always get the food in. Make sure you're not just drinking caffeine all day. Heart palpitations are real. I mean, people have gone to the ER for this stuff. So anyways, there's your warning.
I don't get too strung out on caffeine. I feel like I try to like, if I'm going to drink it, I'm going to do something with it.
Yeah.
So it's like either before a workout or before I do something focused for work.
Yeah.
Or a podcast, whatever.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing actually. I love that.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Goggins? What do you want to cover today? So
Well, we were talking about getting some of Kyle's inside info on training and nutrition a little bit. I think maybe talk a little bit about the Ironman training I've been doing. I'm on week 6 of a 30-week program, so just continuing to grind, a lot of zone 2 cardio. I don't know, any current events on your mind, anything there, or just...
honestly, the current events, I was looking around at stuff and I was talking to my client, Bobby J, who's a big basketball fan. And we talked about Bam from the Miami Heat scoring 83 points.
Yeah.
That kind of came to the front. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on right now. So I didn't know which one to pick, but I asked him, I'm like, what do you think about this Bam situation? Right. And I didn't watch the game, but I think the NBA refs are under investigation because they gave him so many foul calls. He had like the most free throw attempts ever.
43
attempts. And, his teammates basically just said, hey, I want you to go score as many points as you can. It was just like a setup game, right? So I think a lot of NBA people are kind of mad about it because it's kind of a fake game. So I don't know. That might be one of the bigger things that I've looked at. I mean, I know it's sports versus you could go into, the war with Iran. You could go World Baseball Classic all over the place. But the Bam thing to me was kind of a big, he's second most points ever in the NBA in a game. So I think that's a pretty big deal. And it caught my interest. I don't like it. Didn't seem ethical. Didn't seem... it's one of those things that if it was a Kobe 81 game where it's, he was being fed the ball. I get it. Like it's
at least
not
Kobe's Kobe though.
Kobe's Kobe
belongs on that list. I don't know
Kobe,
if they got a bio.
Yeah, that's
next to Wilt and Kobe.
Yeah,
but
spot on, right? It's like Bam was handed a game. He was 7 for 22 from 3. he had the most free throw attempts ever in a game. You know, it's like, wow, there's a little bit of manipulation there, right? Like, yeah, Kobe 81 makes sense. Joel Embiid 70 makes sense. MJ of any, like, if MJ would have scored 110 points, it would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, a high scoring game, right?
Luka's got one. Luka.
Yeah, what does Luka got?
He was like 70 something
70-something
years ago. Yeah.
We should look at the whole list, but I know Kobe was second and Joel Embiid was up there. Yeah, Luka makes sense, obviously, too.
I hadn't followed the story. I just saw like the highlights the night of.
Yeah.
Bam! I didn't realize there was some controversy.
It's a big controversy. Like, yeah, and then a player for the 76ers, Kelly Oubre, in his post game's like, listen, that's great for Bam, but then he like kind of put his foot down and said, listen, Joel Embiid scored 70 points in 3 quarters, efficiency, kind of talking about like, yeah, let's look at those numbers. Like, he was 7 for 22 from 3. Like, if any NBA player gets 22 3-point attempts, I mean, that's incredible. Like, no one ever gets that, or the free throw attempts, or his teammates kind of just gave him the ball.
Doesn't it make you wonder though why that doesn't happen more?
That's actually what triggered my mind too. Yes, I'm like, why doesn't this happen more often?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's an ethical side of the game. That's all. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a point where you can't do that,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe some NBA players are mad about that part. Like, yeah, Giannis could take the ball. He could shoot it 50 times in a game, right? He's 60% or better in almost every game he plays. He could break, you know, like he could have a good shot at a
I could
record.
argue that's actually like a fair strategy.
That's a
Wanna
good
take
strategy.
Or just give Steph like 43.
Steph should 24 threes. Why not? Like, why would he not do that? I think sometimes it's like because the coach runs an offense and doesn't allow that. So Spoelstra obviously didn't care, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's like an ethical discussion, I guess, about NBA basketball or any sport. But I thought that was a pretty big current event. It's like, yeah, when something like that goes down and players come out and kind of say, yeah, we don't know about that record. And Wilt's record at 100 points, a lot of people would contend like that's not the real record. Kobe's 81 is a real record in the modern day basketball. So, I mean, Bam he has the modern day record now. So it's a pretty big deal. And yeah, the fact that it's not LeBron, Luka, some of these great scorers, Shea Gilgeous, right? I think that's what makes it a problem in the general media, right? Some of the media is going to say, "Oh, stop talking. It's a great record. Who cares? I mean, Bam should deserve all this recognition." But I think I'm with what Matt said. I think why doesn't that happen more often? Because there's an ethical side of the game. The coaches have an offense. Not every player should take 50 shots in a game. That's crazy, right? That never happens. So, yeah, I don't like it. That's my viewpoint on it. So,
Yeah, it definitely feels a little goofy.
yeah.
But
yeah,
it's written now. There's no change in it.
it's written now. It's in the history books and we're all good. But,
Yeah.
I guess the viewpoint I'd take is I hope it never happens again in that way. If it's efficient, if Steph Curry goes 12 for 19 from 3, that makes sense, right? 7 for 22 from 3-point land is usually a coach will say, stop shooting that 3. Yeah. So it just seems a little goofy in that way too, but yeah. Anything else you were thinking?
The one thing I'll give him, 36 for 43.
Yeah. Not
Line.
not
That's
bad
good for a big guy.
Not bad from the free throw line. No one has ever attempted 43 free throws in one game. So I'm not saying the NFL or NBA or anything's not rigged, but there could be some rigging in this situation. I don't know.
There's some rigging.
Yeah.
He played 42 minutes.
He played a lot of minutes. He got a ton of free throw attempts. He got the calls. The ball got passed to him over and over and over and over.
They were playing the Wizards. Can that really even be considered an NBA game?
The Wizards, I think, just gave up. They just were part of the problem, right?
Yeah.
They just gave into it.
They've been bad for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much in the way of current events, I think.
Yeah.
I was watching a little bit of the Paralympics last week. Some of those events are wild. There was one I was watching. It was downhill ski racing for people who were like partially blind.
Yeah.
So they put like a runner about 20 yards in front of the actual competitor, and they said they were like a bright pink jacket.
Yeah.
And they send you downhill ski racing. And they were like, these skiers are relying on what they hear as much as what they see. Basically, like they're like,
Oh my
they
goodness.
just see this pink blur in front of them, and they try to listen for when the person in front of them is turning, and they
That's
just
so
follow
cool.
like 20 yards behind. Yeah, pretty wild.
So was that the coolest thing you saw? Like just that event by itself?
Well, that one
was
just stood out because
Okay.
like
Okay.
I was skiing a few weeks ago. I'm like, it's hard enough to get down the mountain just on your own on those mountains that they're racing on. But
Yeah.
when you can't see,
Yeah.
like
That's amazing.
pretty insane. Yeah.
I'll be completely honest. I haven't watched any of the Paralympic, Winter Olympics, but
Yeah.
I did train with a guy who was in the Summer Olympics, Paralympics, Tom Miazga, and he swam in 2012. So it's incredible to see a guy or gal, whatever it may be, who does any of this stuff, right? I mean, I got to train with Tom, and you know, when you get to be next to an Olympian of any type, right? Paralympics, and it could be winter or summer, it doesn't matter. It was incredible. Yeah. So like the things he could do, I'm like, he came in one time in his wheelchair, he's got cerebral palsy, and we talked about some stuff, some muscle up stuff, and
Mhm.
he didn't really do much CrossFit. He comes in, you know, he's in his wheelchair and he did a muscle up, and I'm like, there's no way this guy just did a muscle up on the rings in his freaking wheelchair. This is incredible. So again, it's like, you know, some athletes are just special in that way. And I've got to be around a few of those. But Matt, I'll have to tune in. I've never seen that, but
It might be over by now, honestly. But
Okay,
I think it just takes a different level of like creativity
yeah.
and like gutsiness for some of the competitions they come up with. It's like, man, how do these people even like get over that hurdle of putting yourself in that position? But it's really cool.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's the same
to
as
watch.
the real Olympics with, you know, having the speed skating and all the stuff, right? So it's like, okay, you take what we know of the Olympics, which is televised on NBC. They push on that so hard. They forget there's another Olympics that I wish they would cover more. Like, I don't get that part. You know, it's like I said, Tom is an amazing athlete. He was in the pool swimming as a guy with cerebral palsy, right? So a lot of upper body strength, all those things. And unfortunately, it's like our culture pushes the real Olympics as it's only this one thing. It's like, no, well, the Paralympics, why don't we push that? Like, why? I don't get that, actually. It's like, I get it's a money thing, but the Paralympics to me are almost more incredible and more real than anything you watch in like the, you know, the Summer Olympics when a guy runs, you know, 100-meter dash. Well, in the Paralympics, let's say they're in a wheelchair running a 100-meter dash. Like, why are we should be talking about that, right?
Yeah. Well, I was seeing a clip the other day of a woman who did the 100-meter dash Paralympics blind.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to hold hand. They have like, again, they have a tracker that like runs with her, but still like that level of like trust and just commitment to doing that totally blind is crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like teaches us something, you know, because it's like, I could say it this way, I guess. So able-bodied Olympics versus Paralympics, right? The Paralympics just don't get the credit they deserve. It's incredible to me. And I got to see that in CrossFit too. I got to see some amazing people in CrossFit. They call it the adaptive, you know, CrossFit games or whatever they call it, right? Which to me, again, is like they're not doing anything different or anything less special than the CrossFit games, right? Like it's called adaptive CrossFit games. I don't know, man. It's like I saw Tom doing things. I'm like, he was doing 18 ring muscle ups in a row. I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, so again, it's like, I think people don't realize the level of athlete that these people are, and it's not fair because it's like, they should really be, they should be kind of broadcast in a different light. You know, I got to be a part of that a lot. I got to work out with Tom. I got to experience that myself. I got to do his workouts, and it's like, whoa, this is different. This is something that people don't realize how hard that workout is right? And he's in a wheelchair. Sure, I'm trying to act like I'm kind of in the same positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's kicking my butt, he's beating me bad. Like, yeah, Tom, I guess you are the world champion, right? I'm nowhere near your level. It's kind of cool to see. It's a very humbling experience as an athlete to be like, whoa, let me go see what that person's experiencing. And then they kind of destroy you in a good way. It's like, that's pretty cool, Tom. So he taught me a lot. So
It's awesome.
yeah, that's the best thing that I can say. More specifically, I got to train or coach those kind of people or be next to them sometimes. But
Yeah.
people should never underestimate anybody in the Paralympics or in the CrossFit world. It's the adaptive side is what they call it, but they're incredible athletes. So
Yeah. Adaptive is a good word for it because
Yeah.
it's like it's still people going 100% at whatever their craft is and just
Yeah.
figuring out how to become the best in the world at it.
just adapting it slightly.
Yeah.
I mean, it does make a lot of sense. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, Tom could do things that able-bodied people wish they could do, right? And he would always talk about that. No one should feel bad for, because they know Tom has cerebral palsy, and he would make fun of himself sometimes. But I would always be like, you know what, Tom? Like, I was like, don't make fun of yourself, right? Because he almost did that as a, as a kind of an awareness thing. Like he kind of thought people might be making fun of him, I'm sure, when he was a younger guy. I was like, dude, Tom, you're amazing, right? Like, I know you're making fun of yourself to kind of protect yourself, and there's some stuff behind that, but there's a lot on that side of it we could talk about too. People don't respect those people as much as they should, especially in the able-bodied world, saying, oh, adaptive, that's cool, but watch the CrossFit Games. So I wish people would understand that anyone in the adaptive side is so special and works their ass off, and they're great athletes, right? So give them respect, like really, and that's in my world, in the training world. I think people don't give them enough respect. Some trainers do, obviously, some coaches do, but yeah, don't forget that those athletes are special too, right? And you could take them on as clients, and don't just make it about, oh, that's a basketball player, able-bodied, that's the only client I want.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's special to be able to coach people in those situations and learn from them, right? So
Yeah.
I've been through that myself. So
Yeah, I'm sure there's a ton you can learn about just like injury management and maintenance and patience and all those sorts of things.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just different strengths, right? I mean, if someone's born with cerebral palsy, and I'll just again use Tom as an example, his lat strength and shoulder strength and tricep strength is so much higher than a normal human because he had to use his upper body only in the pool. So you not only learn like physiology, like, whoa, there's obviously when this person has to use their upper body only, that makes sense. I get it, right? But then how do we adapt that into a muscle up? How do we adapt the exercises? I had to learn some stuff myself. I was watching Tom do the CrossFit Open, right, and trying to learn his way through it. And that was kind of before. So CrossFit got better at that, meaning like they got better at adapting everything and having the adaptive CrossFit Games, including that into the mainstream thing. But in the early days, like Tom had to kind of figure out some stuff on his own. So I do appreciate the fact that Paralympics exist. CrossFit Games have gotten a lot better about including these people, because they're more inclusive now than they used to be. So it's really important, right, to allow those people to perform and do their thing. So
Yeah, and the Paralympics, I mean, they air it on NBC now.
Yeah.
It's like prime time for a lot of hours of the day. So
yeah,
always good to remember the week after the Olympics, get to watch some cool adaptations of some of the events.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know there was some other stuff we wanted to talk about today. I think kind of some nutrition training kind of stuff. What were you thinking on that front?
I just wanted to talk more general. I think I listen to enough people podcasts that I often hear people skipping over habit talks.
Yeah.
And I think, go down a list of macro talk and all the things that are already out there. But, and I've heard people talking about habits, obviously. The book Atomic Habits is very popular. And I read that many, many years ago and learned a lot. But, the key thing that I learned in Atomic Habits, and then I studied precision nutrition a ton, which is my opinion, a top 2 nutrition company in the world. There's a lot out there about habit change, right? And how someone who's struggling needs to kind of focus on things correctly, right? So let's say you get a client, over in my situation, who comes in is like, hey, I'm overweight. Like, what's the first thing that I do? This happens a lot, by the way. What's the first thing that I do? They come in, they're like, okay, I struggle with, I eat too many sweets. I drink too many this, whatever. And they just want macros. And this is the common thing that, well, give me macros, right? What do I do? How do I eat? What do I eat? They kind of attack this whole thing, right? And I've approached this a lot of different ways, but I just wanted to mention, like, macro talk first is fine. Some people do it, but let's say someone comes in and they truly have no idea what they're doing with nutrition, right? And they're an athlete, or they're not an athlete in any sport. They're just trying to lose a few pounds. It's like, what is the first habit that they should attack? Matt, what do you think?
For losing weight, or just
losing weight for this situation in a habit world, not which food specifically to change, right? But like, what habit do you think would be the most important thing?
probably, I would guess, eating schedule, or like, I think I think for a lot of people, it's about like avoiding binges, I would imagine. So it's like, how do you get yourself on a consistent routine where you eat at this time, this time? That's my guess. Eating schedule.
I mean, so it's pretty common sense, right?
Yeah.
How do I eat? What time is that?
Yeah.
So maybe the first thing to attack isn't so much, hey, at lunch, at noon, you need to eat 6 ounces of chicken and this amount of rice and this many vegetables, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just like, hey, maybe don't eat at midnight. Maybe don't, like, habit change itself is hard for some people, right? It's just like, and it seems so simple when someone walks in, like, let's attack the nutrition and like what food you're eating. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but I researched precision nutrition a ton, actually. And they talked a lot about how, the psychological part is so important with nutrition, right? And how it's so impactful to tell someone like, hey, at, noon, instead of having, all that food that you were eating maybe in the past because you're a little overweight, maybe focus on some lesser calories, right? I'm not going to give you the specific foods, but just do less. How about that? And they're like, oh, well, I need to more specific. What do you mean by that? Well, okay. How about you have, a handful of chicken, right? You have a handful of rice. You have 2 fistful of whatever else someone's eating. You just say, hey, how about this? You had that whole handful of this chicken, cut it in 3/4. You had that whole handful of rice, cut it in 3/4. You had the 2 fists of, go down a list of what people are eating. How about we just reduce that by a little bit? And they kind of look at you like, oh, that's it? And it's like, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Because habits are hard to change. People are very set in what they do every day. But habit change is actually that simple to me. It's like, if someone wants to lose weight, that's where you start. And yeah, it could be time-based schedule with what time you eat, but also like, yeah, how much are you eating? But I'm not going to give you the specific food to change. Just change how much you're eating. You're already doing something right in your everyday life. Just maybe let's shift that a little bit. Let's focus on less calories. Shocking, right? Because we all know in the nutrition world, the number one way to lose weight is less calories. If you're eating too many calories, you got to reduce your calories. It's that simple. So that's a math equation, but most people can't understand that right out of the gates, right? Like, they're not able to take, hey, give them 2,000 calorie plan macro with this many protein, this many carb. A lot of people are given those plans and then they can't hold them, right? They can't sustain that plan. So
too much or too engineered.
It's a little bit too more. It's aggressive for a new person. And this is mainly a new person, right? It's someone that's like, I've never really heard this stuff. They kind of just need to start at the initial phase. You're already doing something. Let's adjust this slightly. That's all it is, right? It's like, just take it so simply, with habits, not food choices, not, don't tell them don't go to Culver's or don't go to McDonald's, right? Like, because if they are, you're not going to change that day one.
Yep.
Just easy habit change, right? And then the other one that I think this is important too, that I read this in Atomic Habits many, many times. And I kept going back to, I'm like, that seems so ridiculous and so simple, but it's so true, is they call it a keystone habit. So some people have at 3 p.m., they get up from their chair, they go to something and they grab it and they eat it and they don't even know why.
Mm-hmm.
At 7 p.m., they get up from their couch, they get up and go to the fridge and grab something and go back and they don't know why. It's a keystone habit. It's set in their brain. They're doing something that it's almost automatic, right? It's unconscious. They're not doing it to be bad and wanting to not lose weight, right? They're just doing it because that's what they're used to.
Yeah.
So what you tell them is, okay, we already know at 3 p.m. you're getting up and grabbing something bad. Get up at 3 p.m., go walk, get water, drink 12 ounces of water, get back down and sit down.
Yeah.
That's all. It's like earth shattering. No, it's not. It's not earth shattering. At 7 p.m., you're going in your fridge and grabbing 3 beers, or, people drink a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go to your fridge, grab, again, water, 12 ounces, sit down, drink your water. If you did those two things in a day, what would change? 3 p.m., 7 p.m. I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. 3 p.m., I'm not going to grab a cookie, whatever it is, right? I mean, I'm just making up stuff, but I kind of learned that through Atomic Habits, that people really struggle with that, right? Their brain goes to automatic, unconscious. They don't think about it.
Yeah.
They get in their car, they drive to Culver's. They don't even know why. They just got used to it. They get in their car, they drive somewhere else. And it's like those habit changes are how you lead to better lifestyle things happening, right? So
Yeah.
that's really hard for people, right? Because if they get used to something, keystone habit is set in the brain. It's like, yeah, how do I change that? It's like, it's a decision. It's a, and I'm a trainer or coach. I talked about this last week, but, me telling them might help, but they do have to make that decision. Like, hey, I know maybe that's not leading me where I want, right? It's not leading me where I want to get up at 7 p.m. from my couch, go into the fridge, grabbing a beer, sitting back down, drinking that. Those are choices that in the long term, you could do that here and there. But man, you can't do that every day. You can't do that. You know what I mean? So it's like those choices that you start making are leading to the right thing in the long term. So I wanted to just throw that little piece of nutrition out. That's not talking about food necessarily. That's just like, if anyone's listening about the nutrition side and just wants a little bit of advice, just try to maybe change a few of those things and start there. Yeah. We can talk about food later. We can get into that stuff and kind of learn, but man, it's like, that's kind of impactful advice. Even for myself, I take that advice. And, at 3 p.m., if I get up and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of used to grabbing whatever it is, right? If I just make a better decision at 3 p.m., that's so impactful for the next month. And
Yeah.
7 p.m., I'm like, I guess I can use my kids as an example. Like, they want a treat after dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they're just so used to it. It's just natural habit to say, can I have a treat? Because that's a kid. That's what kids do. What I would say is, as an adult, don't be like a kid. Don't get caught in that cycle of, in your brain, you eat dinner and you have a good dinner and they're like, well, I deserve a treat now, right? Like, not really. Like, who's saying that, right? So, and my kids, we give them treats, but it's like, it's very controllable. It's very, because I'm in control of maybe that situation, they don't do bad things. But when people become adults, right, they get away with whatever they want. They're an adult. No parents probably watching. No. So I think that's where it goes kind of interesting in psychology, is they got used to that treat. They got used to doing whatever they wanted. And then if we put rules on it or habits on it, and let's change that keystone habit, that can be really hard on someone, right? Because they're so used to it. They've been doing it for 15 years. They've been getting up and getting that treat at 7 p.m., right? So don't underestimate how hard that is for someone, as a coach or whatever it may be. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about that. Sorry.
Well, I think for a lot of people too, they fall in the pattern of, like, they think every decision they make is either making or breaking their progress. So they're like, oh, I had whatever. They're like, I'm not going to have dessert. I'm not going to have dessert. They go have dessert. and they're like, I failed. Like today I failed, so now I'm gonna go eat everything in my fridge. I don't care anymore.
That's a good
And
point.
it's like
That's a good point. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like it helps if you can keep it in perspective of like, hey,
You're okay. Yeah.
yeah, this goal is the result of 1,000 choices, not one. And like if I get 100 of them wrong, that's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe next month I'll get 90 of them wrong, and the next month I'll get 80 of them. Like,
Yeah.
you have to treat it like a progression. But something I remember from Atomic Habits is like the emphasis on making it easy to make the good choices and hard to make the bad ones.
Yeah.
So like I think the classic example they used in that book, I think it was like, if you want to learn how to play guitar, put your guitar on a stand in your living room.
Yeah.
So that every day you have to walk by it 20 times. And like if one of those 20 times you see the guitar and you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick it up for 5 minutes, that like will snowball over time. Or like if you
Yeah.
wanna if you want to do more curls, put them in front of your TV. Like put your weights in front of your TV, so it's right there and you see it, and like make it easy to see the good things and make it easy to have reminders of your goals.
And nutrition, that's hard because with food, you think about it like, how do I change nutrition? Well, food's in front of me. That's the hard part. So that's what, I mean, Atomic Habits does a good job of explaining that. Like, the problem is people have keystone habits that are bad, right? And this isn't so much learning new habits. It's more getting rid of the negative habits, right? And I think in nutrition, that's the hard part. It's, you're not technically, let's say we're eliminating eating bad things at night, right? It's like, that's different than learning a new skill, right? So I think a lot of people struggle with that habit change because that's like ingrained to their brain that that's what they deserve, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard because, let's say again, if we just use macros as a base, let's say 5 months into someone's plan, you give them macros, right? And they feel really good about it, right? That's different than the first person that comes in my door that says, I need to lose 20 pounds. And you're like, hey, I just need you to change these 2 habits. And that's the hard part sometimes with nutrition is, what I'm trying to, I guess, get at is people always want all the foods they got to change, or they want, the big list of things, or what can I not eat, right? Which is totally American thing, right? Like, it's like, I want the immediate answer, where it's like, no, really. And this is what precision nutrition is getting at. And I'm trying to say as well is, the habit change that you make that day one, it's not going to lead to 25 pounds loss in a day. But, if you stop going at 3 p.m. and grabbing, because a lot of people, what they do is 3 p.m., they'll go grab a cookie. They'll go grab sugar. They'll go grab whatever, right? Blood sugar problems, right? We all know this in the nutrition world is people get really bad blood sugar problems. And then they go to eat the cookie or whatever satisfies that. Okay, at 3 p.m., if you tell them, hey, maybe go grab a glass of water, that might help, right? All of a sudden, they're like, I feel better. And obviously, there's not calories, there's not sugar in water, so that helps. And then, the other one is 7 p.m., right? A lot of people are treats or alcohol at that point. And it's like, if you just shifted those 2 little habits, right? I guess the long term of that is like, it's learning that, the other decisions you made that day, maybe they weren't perfect, but if you get those 2 habits to be a little bit better in the long term, that's a big deal, right? And then you can kind of guide that client into, over the long term, we'll eat these things at these times. But those habit shifts are the hardest part to me. And how do you put that in front of someone too? It's like, you can write it down on a piece of, whatever, and put it everywhere you go. Hey, remember at 3 p.m. do this, or 7 p.m. do this. I think it's hard because it's like nutrition is the food's in your house. A lot of times it shouldn't be in front of you because, a lot of people go to work or they're not home all day. So it's like that automatic cycle of like, I get up unconsciously, go here and eat this. You got to battle that, right? Which is, learning a new skill. I would agree. It's like put something in front of them, like a guitar. They can learn. They don't forget, oh yeah, I'm going to learn the guitar. I got to have the guitar. The food part's hard. It's like psychologically harder to me because, if someone is ingrained and I have bad habits for 25 years, you know what I mean? It's like you're breaking the habit versus building a new habit, right? So they are slightly different. And precision nutrition, I'm telling you, if anyone wants to look into their stuff, like again, this is a resource. We're not giving you, I'm not telling you tomorrow that you need to change everything you're doing in nutrition. It's just kind of as simple as this, like just try to change a few habits. It's like, if you're hearing this, you're like, hey, this person's not saying protein this and I'm not saying that's wrong, right? I'm just saying habit change is maybe your first step. Yeah, you get into the protein, you get into carbs, you get into all these other things. But I think in my experience, it has been an issue where people want to jump the gun. They want to jump over what they need to start with. And it sometimes is hard as an athlete to not want to jump to the thing, because you're like, I need immediate results. I need 6 months. Bam, let's go, baby. And it's hard. Yeah. So it's like, I guess learning that is hard, because the long-term effects of nutrition are like Matt said, it's like not one day is going to change everything, right? Like not even a month. Let's say you live 10 years in a row, pretty damn good. Your body's going to show that, right? So that's the bigger deal. So habits are going to lead to those things. And then as you learn more about what you're supposed to be eating at what time and all those things, that's kind of the long-term effect, right? You get the initial base, and then you kind of go into the details as you get more specific and deeper into it. But yeah, those are all things that matter, right? So
yeah, I think even with food, there's still ways like the motivated version of you can help the unmotivated version. Like if you know at 3 o'clock you're going to get hungry, well then at 11 o'clock when you're up, get a big water bottle, fill it up, put it next to you. Yeah. Like get an apple, put it on your desk. Yeah. Like make it really easy to make the right choice later. Like make yourself have to literally stab yourself in the back to make the bad choice. Yeah. Like, and then the unmotivated version of you knows like, hey, even if they still do it, they're like, I know this is not what I want to be doing. And it's like, even just like that small little conscious choice adds enough. Like you just need to add some resistance, and over time you'll slowly start making, I think, right choices. Yeah. Another thing that I've heard before that I think is helpful is like when you have a plan, like say you want to run a marathon and you're like, every day, or not even run a marathon, I want to lose 10 pounds. And you're like, you have your vision every day. I'm going to wake up at 7. I'm going to run. I'm going to work. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to lift after work. It's going to be great. Maybe that's like what your perfect day looks like, but you also have to think, what does my worst day look like? Like there's going to be a day where I'm stressed with work and my kid didn't sleep and like I don't care about this goal at all. Like what's the minimum thing I can do on a bad day? And maybe it's like go walk outside for 5 minutes, or go, only eat 1 cookie, not 4. Yeah. And like draw up the picture in your head of like, what does a bad day look like? And then when the bad day comes, be like, hey, today's not a good day. Yeah. But I'm still going to check the box of my bad day program. So I'm going to walk outside for 10 minutes and I'm going to only eat 1 cookie. Yeah. And like, even if half the days are bad days, like make sure, like give yourself a spectrum of what progress can look like, not just like an idealism of what progress can look like. I think that is a helpful way to just kind of slowly keep momentum and not just go again, like 0 to 100 and back to 0.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Simple changes. That's what we're saying. It could be in a lot of ways, right? There's a lot of ways to slice that. It's funny. It's like, because a lot of people come to me and they want fat loss. This is like classic, right? It's, it's interesting too. So I think, by the way, there are drugs on the market that can do it for you. This is the problem. So I would tell people too, again, everyone wants what people at the elite levels have. They work for it. They're disciplined. They did all the hard work. And then, people come in with drugs and do the same thing. And it's like, again, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm just saying they never changed their habits. They took drugs. Yes, they look good. But does that mean they're at the same level as someone that did it without drugs? No. And that's why habits are more important than, because drugs can cause someone to look the same as me or you. And it's like, it's so intriguing to me. It's like, I get that person might have a lot of money, they can get away with it. But let's say someone doesn't have any money, they can't afford these drugs to do what they're, some are fat loss, some are muscle gain, whatever it may be. But it's like, man, in nutrition, it's so simple, right? It's like the answers are already out there. Like I already know how to tell someone exactly how to get jacked. It's not hard. The hardest part is someone doing the behavior that I asked them to do. And again, it comes back to habits. If they don't want to change their habits, that's on them, right? But you know, you don't change someone's habits with them being kind of unwilling to change. So again, it's like habit change and all these things are more important than anything, because if someone's willing to change and have a better habit, you know, it's that long-term change is going to happen. And I've had clients, honestly, who they go to drugs, and I've got to be clear here. People have done this, and I know this, right? Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting because some have had great success in different ways. Like for example, there's a drug called tirzepatide. They call it Zepbound, and it's very effective actually. So people can get like if they have sleep apnea and they're a little overweight, a doctor can prescribe it, right? Insurance can help them with it, all this stuff, right? You know, someone could lose weight, their sleep apnea could go basically away. They're a healthier version of themselves, right? We should all be happy for that person. And I am, right? The other version of that person, they could change their habits. They could eat better. They could work out. They could sleep better, go down a list, but they have sleep apnea. So wait a second. It's hard for them to get to that level, right? So sometimes drugs are like, that might actually help them more than changing diet, changing, you know, how they work out, right? So it just depends where the person's at. But again, it's like every individual is different. So if someone has a situation where, hey, my health is so bad and I kind of am unwilling to change what I'm eating, you know, drugs might be the answer. And I know this is like, whoa, but like Zepbound, you know, is actually a very effective, safe drug that helps sleep apnea. And it helps a lot of people. And it's not one of those drugs like, you know, steroids. Steroids are bad. Like, I don't want anyone to do that kind of stuff, right? But Zepbound's way different. It's like, it can actually lead someone to being just a much better version of themselves. And I would ideally like someone to work out, you know, obviously change their nutrition, sleep better, go down a list. But I've just come to the realization that not everyone's going to do that. And Zepbound might be an answer for someone, or there's other answers out there, right? And I'm not like, again, I've now had people in my life that I train that do this stuff. I'm no longer speaking about this stuff from like, oh, I heard this on YouTube. Like I'm actually dealing with it. Like I'm seeing people do this. I'm seeing their lives change. So there's actually a lot of good stuff there, right? There's a lot of positive changes that person made. Again, you could maybe make it with nutrition too, but some people struggle with that, right? It's really hard to change nutrition. I know that, you know, I don't tell people go on the carnivore diet. I don't tell them go on a Mediterranean diet. I don't, you know, it's like some trainers are so quick to say this. Again, it's like I've seen so many clients over years and years and years and years, and some need that. Sure, they need a diet that works maybe. Others need more simple advice. Others, you know, maybe they need drug-induced things to help them out a little bit. But it's like there's so many different ways to deal with every single person, right? That it's kind of hard sometimes because like there's not a clear answer on every single human. And they're studying this too. Like every human also needs different things nutrition-wise. So it's you know, my general advice, maybe it's wrong, right? Because if they don't get tested by a doctor for food allergies or things that they're struggling with, maybe they have deficiencies that I'm not realizing, right? Maybe they don't have enough vitamin D and that's part of their issue. So it's like, there's so many things that go into nutrition. It's not just a simple, eat this much protein. As much as I'd love it to be that simple, it's like, man, there's a lot going on in the complex body. So, but yeah, I think drugs, Zepbound, very safe drug, by the way. You know, if you're extremely overweight or have sleep apnea or anything like that, I've actually seen very positive things happen. So it's like, I hate to say that, but it's like, it's true. Like these things are there. Actually a cardiologist prescribed it to one of my clients. So it's like a cardiologist, think about that. Someone trying to help a person's heart, not like technically sleep apnea was part of the problem, I guess, but that was very intriguing to me when I first heard about that, that a cardiologist prescribes Zepbound to someone, I guess technically for their heart, but it was sleep apnea based. And I'm like, it's really helped him. He feels better, right? So it's like, I guess getting some of that stuff out in the world too, like realizing all the habit changes. And Matt, good point on all your stuff. Like maybe a plan is maybe step one, right? And just simple things. It's like all of that stuff matters. And you know, obviously we're not your doctor here, but if you can take something and just realize, whoa, I could change something. I could be better. I could, but also not be negative and hard on yourself every single day. Like you said, I like that, you know, not bashing yourself in the head every day with a hammer kind of feeling. Right. So, I don't know if you want to add to that, but that made a lot of sense to me, what you said about, yeah, it's not a 1-day event, right? It's like, it's a long-term plan. It's you know, just get better over time. I like that.
Yeah. And I think something that helps me is like just trying to pay attention to your body and trying to measure how you feel, like qualitatively. Like just get in a habit, like even if you're not super diligent about it, just like if you can just take time every day and be like, oh, how do I feel? Like when you either when you wake up or when you go to sleep, or just be like, how am I feeling? What feels, do I feel better? Do I feel worse? What feels right? What feels wrong? Like people spend so much money on all these different drugs and treatments and doctors and trainers. And like it can be very helpful to have someone else's expertise, but I think a lot of people just don't have a habit of checking in with themselves. And I think that can lead to just like neglecting your health. Like generally if you're someone who's pretty overweight, like you're going to feel it. Like, you know, it's no secret. Yeah. It's just like, how do you
don't feel good.
Yeah. And like, how do you check in with yourself in a way that you're not just like, oh, I feel terrible. And I'm, you know, it's not just negative, but it's like, just like a healthy check-in with no emotional attachment, right? Just like, oh, how do I feel today? Oh, I feel crappy. Huh? Why? Oh, I had 2 cheeseburgers last night and an ice cream sundae. Oh, well, maybe that's why I woke up and felt slow. Like, and then just like, you don't have to have all the answers, but like, okay, well, how can I use that and make the next better decision? Not the next perfect decision, but just kind of move yourself in the right direction. And like it snowballs and compounds. Like if you can get in the habit of checking in with yourself and having kind of some set of goals and trying to more often than not check it off. Like, I mean, so I'm training for an Ironman right now. I'm pretty early in the process. I'm on like week 6, and it's like this last week has been like huge in terms of just suddenly starting to actually feel like the snowball effect of the training. Like I've now lost like 10 pounds and I'm getting a bit faster, and like my body is getting to the point where it starts to actually crave the training, whereas like the first month was just like every day it was just pain of like, oh, this hurts, that hurts, the other thing hurts, I don't want to do this. It's like you do it long enough and now it's suddenly like it gets to be 4 o'clock and I'm working and I haven't trained yet maybe that day, and I'm like, man, I like my nervous system like starts to crave it. And I think like if you start putting habits in place and like follow through enough and get through the phases where you don't want to do it, you're going to feel your body like slowly kind of recalibrate to your new normal. And then like as that starts to happen, you get even more motivation, right? Like the motivation compounds. And then you kind of learn how to turn your motivation into more push and more growth. And I think that, again, our bodies are systems. What you put into your body eventually is going to be what your body gives you back. So like if you can start with small wins, putting the right things into your body, and then kind of keep calibrating it, and you know, when you're feeling motivated, keep doing more right things or advancing yourself. It's pretty cool how quickly our bodies can actually adjust and evolve into something healthier and something capable of doing stuff you never dreamed of. So
super adaptable system, right? I mean, our human body is so incredible.
It doesn't take long. Like people can lose 100 pounds in a year. Like if they're like, it really doesn't take that long. It's the hardest thing is just getting through those first couple of weeks, or like that first point of inflection or change in momentum. Like when you're going the wrong direction, how do you recognize that and stop and turn, right? And then once you turn in the right direction, it starts to get easier. So
Can you speak? I mean, can I just share that you texted me about some triathlon stuff? I'm like, Matt basically, I mean, like he said, he's been battling through and doing his training, which is incredible, right? Um, but when you start feeling like PR might hit here, some things are going well. It's so freaking cool, right? Like, wow, I finally feel like all the stuff I was doing, I guess, is leading to exactly where I want to go. Which is, I mean, obviously amazing for me to hear because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a part of your team, right? But Matt, can you just add to that? Because I know mental shift, I know it took a lot, but did it just feel like physically something changed in the last? I know because you've been working your ass off. I know how hard you're working. Because maybe someone doing a triathlon wants to listen to this and is like, I want to hear, I guess, more about that, right? The physiology, but I don't know if you can speak to what you felt because I know you're PRing or feeling like things are coming together, but what did you feel, I guess?
I mean, yeah, I'm still really early in the process. Like I said, I'm on like week 6 of 30. But the amount of growth that I already feel in week 6, yeah, I mean, it's like pretty cool. It's like addicting, honestly. But I remember like week 4, week 5, it was like every workout I did, my body felt more tired the next day. And it was like things kept cropping up. Like on Monday, I would do a run and then my shoulder hurt. And on Tuesday, I would bike and then my knee hurt and my shoulder hurt. And then on Wednesday, I would run again. And then I felt the shin splint developing. And I was like, all these little like nicks. And I was like, man, just got to keep doing it and trust that like the program I'm doing is the right thing to do, right? You have to just kind of trust and follow the process. But, and then suddenly this last week, like, again, I was training every day and I felt that kind of the shift in momentum where it's like, went for a run on Monday and I was running like a minute faster than the pace I did a week before. And I felt better too. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And then like you kind of start to stack things in the right direction. And I go for a swim on Wednesday and it's like I set a new PR for like my 100 or my 50-yard swim. And like I could swim over a mile continuous freestyle. I was like, oh, like I couldn't do that a month ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And you're like, and then that's when I don't know, I'm getting this chapter right now where I'm like, wow, these things that I thought were crazy watching other people do, suddenly I'm like, oh, I can kind of wrap my head around how they do it.
Yeah. Makes more sense.
Yeah. That's where it becomes like so gratifying when you start to realize like, oh man, like maybe I could actually do one of these things and maybe I could actually do it at a decent pace. And yeah, so now I'm like, all right, I want to go keep going, right? Like see what the future,
freaking love it.
The future holds.
I mean, I know I've been telling Matt, like, just share a little bit of your triathlon stuff. Because your training plan, I mean, it's hard. I mean, I don't think people realize how hard this is. I mean, if you can you just spend like a minute or two, like talking about the hours you're spending? Because more specifically to me, for me, I'm kind of a nerd, I guess, but I like to hear, how many hours you're doing each exercise. Also he's in the gym, like lifting with me, but more specifically on the triathlon stuff, it's very interesting to me. So if you want to talk about
I mean, to start, like I don't have any kind of endurance background. I did a marathon like 10 years ago just to try doing one. But like I didn't run cross country or I didn't ever bike or swim competitive or anything. So, I think a lot of people are that way when they start triathlons, but just like, very much an average kind of guy. And the program starts, I think the first week was 4 hours total of cardio. And throughout the whole, it's 3 10-week phases. It's like a base phase, build phase. Can't remember the third one. The third one is basically like go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm in the base phase right now and it's like probably 90% just zone 2 steady cardio. So like, your heart rate's 120 to 140. You're intentionally not supposed to be like stressing your cardio, but you're supposed to just be basically stacking miles on your body. And I think the goal there is just, get some mileage on your body, build some resiliency, get your shin splints and then get them to go away, get your shoulder pain and get it to go away. You just get comfortable being kind of uncomfortable and like under fatigue. And yeah, this week is 9 hours. So I'm in week 6 and just kind of builds by an hour each week. By the peak of the program, which I think is like around week 20, like early 20s, a couple months before the full Ironman, it's like 22, 23 hours of cardio in a week. So it builds quite
That's
a bit.
crazy. Anyways.
Yeah. And again, I haven't done this yet, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll be like a real-time experiment, but yeah.
I mean, this is fun to talk about.
But yeah, I mean,
it's
the program I'm doing is called Be Iron Fit. I can't remember who wrote the book, but it's like a very well-known, like reputable, world-class. I think Ironman competitor and his wife, I think, made the program together. It's all heart rate based.
Maybe we can put that in the link or something if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's just called Be Iron Fit. Like
Be Iron Fit.
Iron Fit. It'll be the first thing that shows up. But what's cool about it is it's like, I mean, speaking of like Atomic Habits, like there's nothing you have to do that is like, I can't do that. It's all just like getting yourself onto your bike, onto your treadmill, out for your run, into the pool, and just like going consistently. It's like the biggest hurdle is just a mental block of like, you know, you say to someone, oh, you're going to do 10 hours of cardio a week. And they're like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you're like, you know, or you just say like, hey, get in the pool and start swimming.
Yeah.
And like,
just go.
Yeah. Just
jump in
like,
and see what happens.
Do it slow. Like you're never going to feel like you know, it's not like CrossFit where you feel like you're going to puke or like you're under stress.
That's a good point. Very different, right?
Yeah. It's
very low intensity.
Yeah.
That's a great point because they are very different. What's the hardest exercise you've, like, because you're saying I have this many hours on this and this and this. What's been the hardest exercise out of the 3?
The swim took a little adjusting to.
Okay.
I think the bike is probably the hardest because you spend like twice as much time on the bike as swimming or running. So like you spend a lot more time just training on your bike. But you got to find some good TV shows because that can get boring in the winter.
And you're inside, right?
Yeah.
So you're biking inside.
We're getting close to being able to bike outside, but still inside right now. But I think the coolest thing about the whole program is like, you really backdoor your way into fitness. Like, it's not like you show up day one and are like, hey, let's run at 180 heart rate and, you know, till I'm seeing stars. It's like, no, let's just like do a really like slower run, 60% of what you think is a reasonable pace.
Yeah.
And just do that for 5 hours this week.
Yeah.
And like, you kind of see how that feels. Like your body gets used to what it feels like to spend that much time just running slow at whatever, a 130 heart rate. And then you kind of slowly build to where a couple months later, you're like, this feels like the same level of effort. And suddenly, oh, wow, I'm doing this and I'm running, you know, faster than I could when I started. And it doesn't feel hard. And that's what's cool about it is just like, it's so input driven and like heart rate driven that the output, you don't even really care. Like, it's not like you're measuring your distance. You're not measuring your results. You're just measuring your time and your heart rate. And then you look at the results and you're like, oh, wow, like that.
Holy crap.
Like yeah.
Could you explain the bike more? Because I know you've said a few things about equipment. If someone's like, I've never done triathlon training, you can go outside and run. You can jump, you know, I mean, I'm not saying people can just swim naturally, but they can find a pool or whatever. Like, what bike would you find? Because that's kind of interesting, right? Like,
yeah,
like at a CrossFit gym, you might have a Concept 2 bike. There's a Salt bike, whatever. But I think you're talking about a different kind of bike that you're using. So,
well, if you're starting, it's like just get on anything with pedals and start pedaling.
Okay, so you can just bike on whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I did an Olympic triathlon last year. It's like a quarter of the distance of an Ironman, and I did the majority of my training for that on like an air bike, like a CrossFit air bike.
Yeah.
And it does, you know, it does the trick.
Is there something better? Is it more specific?
There's a lot of layers to it. Like you can, right now I have a road bike. Eventually I want to get like an actual triathlon bike. And they're just, you know, they just get you into a slightly more aerodynamic position. You know, so you get leaned over and you,
so how much money you want to spend on a bike? Big deal. I know you've kind of mentioned that, right?
Yeah. It's like, it's diminishing return. It's like anything once you like start to specialize, you know, next thing you know, you can spend $5,000 on a bike to get a couple miles an hour faster, which doesn't matter for most people. But it does get to a point when, you know, if you are biking for 10 hours a week, you're like, oh, it does sound kind of nice if I can go 10% further.
Just a little faster. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But we'll see. I'm still figuring that out. Again, I'm like, this is my first real distance triathlon training. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully I can follow through and get it done. It does feel like I'm at the point with my training where like I'm getting used to it enough that it'll just slowly scale, and I feel like I'm far enough along now where it's like I'm in it. Like I don't think I would just stop at this point, right?
Yeah,
Those initial pains are kind of out of the way, so it just requires a ton of patience and a lot of podcasts to listen to because you got a lot of hours to keep your mind engaged.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
This is fun to hear, though. I mean, I enjoy it. I'm sure people want to hear about it. It's like, because it's boring, right? I mean, zone 2, slower stuff. But how have you felt your body change with all the zone 2 work? Have you felt a shift in your heart and all the stuff?
I mean, first of all, I have been hungry all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that's the biggest thing is like my appetite has been going up and up. But I also like, I wake up every day feeling a lot better. Like in the past, if like I did eat like a big dinner or eat pasta or something, the next day I would feel like slow.
Yeah.
I feel like you can just feel your body is like actually burning what you're giving it.
Yeah.
And I think when your like metabolism gets into that state, you just start to feel better about everything because it's like, your body is more engaged and active, and like when you eat, you're going to use it. And just, I don't know. I feel like just the way your body
puts
that energy is like, it's different. It's better feeling. There is like fatigue, like your legs are always sore. You also get used to that. Like I think a month ago when I would start a workout, if my legs felt like completely like ripped up because we did squats the day before or whatever, I'd be like a little intimidated or a little bit like, man, how am I going to get this done?
Yeah.
But you do enough runs and or bikes and you're like, you just know you're going to figure it out. And you know that like a lot of the time, once you get 10 minutes into an exercise, you loosen up and feel better.
Feel a lot better.
Yeah.
If ice baths helps, I mean, you mentioned
ice baths are really helpful. I think that's the most helpful.
Let's highlight that. That's helped you a lot.
Even
so if anyone's doing a triathlon, just listen to Matt for a second.
Dude, even if you just get it up to your waist, like you don't have to go all the way to your neck. Just get your legs, especially for the run, get your legs in an ice bath and just spend 15 minutes in there. You'll be thankful for it the next day because like, especially if I do it after my runs, it helps so much for just my like being fresh for the next workout. But yeah, the ice baths help. I don't have a sauna, but I think a sauna would help. And yeah, just being consistent and not. Then also like we were saying with habits, like just not getting down on yourself. Like if there's a day where you do go for your run and you're slower than you were last week, or like you have to stop and walk for 5 minutes, or like maybe something falls through and you were supposed to do an hour bike, but you only do 45 minutes. Like,
don't be defeated. Right?
Yeah. Just like being like, okay, you know what? Turn the page. What am I doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like a big thing in this program actually they talk about is that a lot of athletes can fall into a habit where like they don't complete the full workout or they miss a day and they feel like they have to catch up.
They feel bad, right?
Yeah. They feel guilty and they feel like they're not achieving their goals, and then what they'll do is they'll then overtrain to make up for it.
They'll hurt themselves because they missed a day. Yeah.
And a big thing is like if you miss a day, do the next day. Like don't get caught up.
Yeah, don't go back.
Yeah. Like keep the ball rolling, and maybe when it's all said and done, maybe you only did 90% of the workouts, but like be okay with that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Like
which actually applies perfectly to nutrition and everything we're talking about.
Yeah, just more often than not show up. You'll be good like with enough time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you felt like even your heart? Have you felt? I mean, it's kind of an interesting question, but resting heart rate has changed. Just like generally, all that stuff has felt different.
I think I always had a pretty low. Like my resting heart rate, for whatever reason, it's always been like 40.
Yeah, it's been super low. Yeah.
When I sleep, it's like mid-30s. But the big thing to me is that my heart rate doesn't spike as much during the workouts. Like I feel that changing. Like when I'm running now, like I feel way less fatigued and out of breath and like way less cardio. intense than it was. And again, only 6 weeks in, it's like I can only imagine where I can get to if I keep doing this for a year. But like,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see. But I mean, the big thing, like, yeah, it just starts. The thing is that like you stack wins, and it's like everything starts to get 1% easier every few days, and you're like, as it keeps getting easier, you can go faster, you get lighter, you get fitter, you feel better, and it's like these things just stack.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I feel like life is all just like momentum, and it's like, how do you control that momentum, and try to keep it going in a positive direction? And like, I think especially like with training, it's like if you can, when things are going well and you feel good, like just keep stacking wins and setting yourself up for like more success, and putting things in place for when, like, on days when it doesn't feel as good. Yeah, just where you can get it done and get back on the right track. So it's been good and it's been fun.
And then that stacks momentum into work, right? And business and family.
Yeah.
And godly life and all those things. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it helps across the board. It's like
Yeah.
you feel better about your relationships. You feel better about work. You feel more energized. You feel just more in control, I think, when you have a plan like this and you're following it, there's a level of diligence that you just start to develop, and then you just feel more at peace and in control, or like really at peace, not even in control, just like at peace with what you're doing. And just trusting like the inputs in your process and not worrying too much about the results. So
That's awesome.
keep it going.
Oh, you're going to keep it going, Goggins. You're going to keep it going. No problem there, right? You're going to Vegas next week, right? So, I mean, that's interesting too. I mean, it's, I guess you just were talking about this. Okay, so now you have this little trip. Maybe you're not going to be perfect on your plan, right? And then, it's like, okay, he's going to Vegas for some stuff and work-based, right? And then it's Orlando, quick trip, see some family. It's fun to hear, like, and I think you're saying the mental side really well, but you're not going to get worried about, maybe there's a few days aren't perfect. It is what it is. I got to go do some other stuff. That's the same with everything in fitness and nutrition. Like it's not going to be perfect every day. That's okay, right? You do your best. But even when you go to Vegas, are you thinking you're going to run a little bit, kind of keep some stuff going, right? But
yeah, try to. I think it'll be a good test. It's like, can I keep the drive alive when I'm not totally in my routine? Because I know there's some more stuff between now and the eventual race day. Like there's going to be weddings, there's going to be bachelor parties, there's going to be travel, there's going to be who knows what else comes up. So it's like, how do you keep yourself honest and on top of it with all the other distractions? And I think for a lot of people, especially like younger people who sign up for this kind of thing, like really they get derailed more often than not by just life and distractions.
How do you see yourself preventing that? Because I think you're not going to get derailed, but what's your biggest thing you're trying to prevent that from happening? Like, how are you going to?
I think it's just priorities. Like you just gotta,
there we go.
Even if like on Tuesday you mess up, it's like, how do you get to a point where like you wake up the next day on Wednesday and you're like, okay, I screwed up yesterday, but I'm still going to get up and go swim. Or like I'm going to start the next day right.
Yeah.
Again, it's like turning the page each day, and like your body doesn't really like, you feel some fatigue from what you did yesterday or whatever, but like in terms of like the whole program and like any big goal, what you did yesterday doesn't really matter. What you do tomorrow doesn't matter. It's like, what are you going to do today? How are you going to, if you're off track, get back on track. If you're on track, stay on track. If you're ahead of track, take advantage and keep going. Like,
keep going.
How do you, it's just like, how do you keep yourself motivated? Because it's relentless. Like every day is going to come at you. Time's going to keep moving. You just gotta, more often than not, make the right choices and not stress if you make bad ones. Just get back on track.
These are good nuggets. I mean, I'm just, you're trying to get to someone who might think of doing this or is going through it. That's good advice, Matt. I think anyone should hear that and say, wow, that kind of makes sense. Because getting derailed also happens quite often. I mean, how many, because you've been in this world a little bit, but like, how many people do you know that got derailed, injury, whatever may have happened, motivation, life, it's like that happens a lot too, right? So I don't know how many people you know that's happened, but
Dude, I mean, that happened
Yeah.
last year.
yeah, okay. Yeah, go into
Bachelor
that a little
parties.
bit.
Bachelor parties are the worst, man. I'll tell you, nothing's gonna ruin your triathlon dreams like a bachelor party.
That is a problem. All right.
Yeah, so you gotta. And the other thing, like, once you tell people, "Hey, I'm doing this," and all it takes is like showing up one time and being like, "Oh, I'm not drinking tonight,"
Yeah.
and then actually not drinking, and then people are like, "Oh, he's not drinking."
He's like
They get over
serious.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Or like, "Oh, I'm waking up at 7 tomorrow and I'm gonna train for 2 hours,"
Yeah.
and people might give you crap, but then like you wake up and do it, and they're like, "Oh, he did it," and they shut up pretty quick.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's just getting used to a new normal, like a new way of being. And yeah, again, accepting like you're gonna mess up a few times, but that's okay. It's part of the process. And not beat yourself up for it, because that's the biggest waste. It's like, it's one thing to mess up, but people will waste 10 times as much energy beating themselves up for their mistake than the mistake actually cost them. And it's like, you gotta have the discipline to like just get over your mistakes, so
Yeah.
or your shortcomings. So
Just move forward, right?
yeah.
And you were talking to me about, I think it was your buddy who got injured, who was a very good triathlete, right? So also there's an injury side to it. A lot of people get injured, I'm assuming, doing this kind of training. So like strength training, Matt's been doing strength training on top of all this training. It's like, that's pretty incredible that you're so focused and you're keeping with it. But you know, I can't remember. Did your buddy do strength training? Do you remember? Because it's like
He did, yeah. He's
so he was doing all
like
of
an
it.
elite world
okay.
qualifier level guy.
Yeah, and even him.
But then he
who-
got hit by a car. So
Yeah, he got hit by a
yeah.
car, which is not his. I mean,
Yeah.
again, but it's like, holy crap! Think about that guy. I'd actually look at his mindset. He's like, I'm coming back. I'm sure he's saying that
yeah,
to
he's
himself.
training hard. I mean, I saw him a couple weeks ago. He was doing his physical therapy stuff every day, like just that kind of guy.
I guess that's the mindset you need, though, right? You can't, even if you get hit by a car and you're on your bike and you're injured for what, 6 months to a year. I love the mindset of, I'm not going to be stopped,
Yeah,
right?
just keep going. Like, okay, this is the next obstacle. Like that's the story for him this year. It's like, oh, that's the year I got hit by a car. How did I
Yeah.
get back up?
That positive mindset is so beautiful, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, Matt has it. He's working his tail off. But your buddy too. Like, I think that's so cool. Like, I wish more people would take on that mindset, right? Of like, yeah, something went backwards. Now I go back forwards. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to work through this as hard as I can. I'm not going to be defeated. But you know, in our lives, we know a lot of people that struggle with that part, the mindset, the mental shift, the I deal that, you know, high school kids that I train or college kids or adults, you know, it's like they have a bad meet, for example, in a track meet. You know, in my opinion, like I'd be like, well, that's tough, maybe mentally a little bit. You learn something and you move on.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, like I'd say 6 to 7 out of 10 of those kids that struggle in that meet are going to have a negative mindset and struggle to move forward. Right. So the kid that, you know, is a 3 out of 10, like, oh, well, I didn't have a great meet. Let me move forward and learn from that and grow from that. Like, yeah, we wish every kid had that. Every athlete had that. Every person had that mindset. They don't, right? Like we all know this, like it's a common theme. But the more you can be the 3 out of 10, I know it's a minority, but the more you can take those setbacks as it's a learning experience, right? And I mean, Matt, I think you were talking about this 2 weeks ago when I interviewed you, taking on failures and just realizing their growth, their how you learn about how to move forward. And that's athletics too, right? That's everything. That's like, you know, a cornerback gives up a touchdown. And do you think the next play they should be thinking about that? Or should they be focused on, oh, this is the call. This is the guy in front of me. Here's what I got to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to be that good. You got to be that special in your mind to be able to move forward because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to, right? So yeah, don't let it defeat you over time, which is I mean, it's easier for me to say this stuff, but to be that person that actually does that is a minority person, right? And I think Matt's given a ton of nuggets on how he's doing that within his training right now. So I hope people are listening. Anything you want to add to that? Because I know you're talking a lot about it. I love it.
I know we're kind of butting up against time here, but I think the one thing that just listening to you talk makes me think is there are so many opportunities that pass by us every day that we're not even aware of. Like I might have walked by 100 opportunities this morning to do something awesome. Whether it's like business opportunities, fitness opportunities, relationship opportunities. And like the most important thing you can do for yourself is just be present so that you can identify those opportunities, and put yourself in positions where you can be successful. So like if you mess up or if something's not going the way you want, the worst thing you can do is dwell on it and then be blind to the next thing that you can do, right? And so yeah, whether it's training and following your program or something else in your life, like try to do your best to be present, identify opportunities, and just be like enthusiastic about the world and like how lucky we are to get to do all these things in it, and just keep showing up, and good stuff will eventually happen. So
I think that might be a good close.
that's
It's like you have a meeting, right? So, but I mean, this is all a great talk. It's all stuff that very relatable to a lot of people. A lot of mindset, a lot of motivation, a lot of training advice, nutritional advice, but not foods you're eating, just maybe some more habits or focus you can have. So
Yeah.
appreciate all our time, and this is awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. We'll see you next week.
Too easy.